What's going on, everyone? Delphi After Dawn here. I'm your host, Jason King. Thank you for tuning in. So I just want to talk about the Delphi murders, the trial, Richard Allen's trial. So the people that's been following me for like the last 11, 12 years knows that I have been following this case almost ever since I heard about it, which is I've been following the case for like the last, I'd have to say 6 years, even though it happened a lot longer than that. I have met so many good friends investigating this case and talking about this case. I've been attacked. I've had my channel taken down 4 different times. I've had 4 different channels taken down. I've had people steal my work, talk about stuff I've already talked about and covered, and they get all the glory for it. It's been a long ride and a big old mess, but that's besides the point. One thing I can say I'm glad about is the really good people and good friends that I met throughout this long journey and this long road with covering the Delphi murder case and the trial and all that. I met a lot of good people, made a lot of good friends that I still talk to this day, so I'm very thankful for that. And you all out there know who you are. Another thing I'd like to talk about is like the Richard Allen trial, right? The BG Bridge Guy trial. So, there's like so many people out there. I'm seeing so many people out there that really truly believe that Richard Allen is innocent, right? But you also have to think about this. You also have to realize that whole Odinism theory that the defense was pushing, that was just something the defense came up with as a defense strategy. And I know that there's people out there that don't like Judge Gold, and there's people out there that feel like that because of her, Richard Allen did not get a fair trial. But honestly, it's all about perspective and how you look at things. In my opinion, Richard Allen did get a fair trial, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason Judge Gold did not allow Richard Allen's defense team to talk about the whole Odinism and all that theory and all that was because there was no concrete evidence to back that up. And when it comes to a court of law, and I know a lot about law and stuff because I have an aunt that is a big attorney out in Richmond, Virginia, and I have another aunt that works for a law firm. And so I've actually studied law myself. I learn new stuff all the time because laws are always changing. But anyways, that's besides the point. Anyways, in my opinion, it's all about perspective. When it comes down to, jury trials, bench trials, going to court, going to trial and all that stuff, when it comes to the court systems, they never allow he said, she said stuff, right? When it comes to trials and the court systems, you have to present concrete evidence. If you don't have concrete evidence, it cannot be presented. For example, she didn't allow the whole Odinism theory because that's all of that was he said, she said stuff. There was nothing to back it up. So therefore, by law, Judge Gold could not allow that. See what I'm saying? And throughout the history of courts and trials and stuff, with the judicial system, no judge will ever allow hearsay. Never. They don't allow it. So Judge Gold did the right thing by not allowing the whole Odinism thing because there was nothing to back it up. When it comes to the judicial system, you have to have hardcore evidence to back up what you're presenting. And you cannot go into a court of law and present rumors that you got off of Reddit or YouTube. I mean, it's just, you can't do it. You have to have hardcore evidence. And that's what a lot of you people out there need to understand. You cannot go to trial, especially a murder trial, and you cannot go there and your evidence be a bunch of rumors that you got off of Reddit or a Reddit forum or a YouTube forum. That's not considered evidence, people. And that is why Judge Gold did not allow it. Judge Gold followed the law like she's supposed to. It may not seem like she gave him a fair trial, but under the color of the law, she gave him a fair trial. Because they can't allow he said, she said stuff. And another thing I would like to talk about is, the Kathy Allen said this is not over. After Richard Allen got found guilty of all 4 counts. She's so mad and upset, and she's saying it's not over. And people are talking about now wanting to raise money and try to get an appeal and this and that. Let me explain this to you. I want you to understand this concept too. I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, Kathy Allen knows her husband's guilty, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason I know that she knows her husband's guilty, several reasons I'm going to explain to you right now. First reason is, when he made that phone call from jail, and he told her that he killed Abby and Libby, and he's responsible for their deaths. She said, no, you didn't. I don't believe it. And then he said, yes, I did. And she said, no, you didn't. I don't believe it. And he said, yes, I did. And then she said, no, you didn't. I don't believe it. And this went on for another 2 minutes probably, of her just in straight denial, saying, no, you didn't, honey. No, you didn't, honey. And he said, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And when Richard Allen even got off the phone at one point, he even told Dr. Walla, she doesn't believe me. I told her that I did it, and she doesn't believe me. Okay? That's one reason why I know that she knows he's guilty. Another reason I know that she knows he's guilty is this, and this is the bread and butter right here. This is the icing on the cake. If she truly believed her husband is innocent, and I want you to think about this, she would have gotten on that stand. There would have been nothing that would have stopped her from getting on that stand and pouring her heart out and explaining why her husband is innocent. But did Kathy Allen do that? No, she didn't. You know why she didn't do that? Because she knows in her mind and heart that her husband did it, for one. And for two, I think another reason why she didn't get on the stand and try to pour her heart out to the jurors as to why she claims her husband's innocent and he didn't do the crime and this and that, is the fact that, one, she knows he did it, and two, she knew that if she would have gotten on that stand to try to pour her heart out to the juries and try to say that her husband's innocent and he didn't do those crimes, she knew that would have been that would have opened up a whole can of worms. That would have opened up a whole new door for the prosecution to they would have asked her all kinds of questions. They would have interrogated her. She would have been creamed on that stand. And after the prosecution got done with her, it just would have made Richard Allen look even more guilty than he already is. So, I mean, think about it, people. If you really, and this is to, what I'm about to say, this is to the people out there who believes Richard Allen's innocent. Put yourself in Kathy Allen's shoes. Say you're married to Richard Allen and you're his wife, right? And you really, truly believe he's innocent, right? You would have gotten on that stand and you would have poured your heart out and it wouldn't have made a damn what you think would have happened or what the outcome is, or ifs or that's or buts or this or that or whatever it is. You would have gotten on that stand, you would have poured your heart out, and you would have tried your damnedest to convince that jury that your husband is innocent. You would have. I want you to think about that. And if you sit back and say you wouldn't have, you're just lying to yourself and to everybody on YouTube or TikTok or whatever platform this video is going to go on. But yeah, you would have poured your heart out. You would have done everything you could. You would have gotten on that stand and you would have tried to convince those 12 jury members that your husband's innocent. Did Kathy Allen do that? No, she didn't. She did not do that. So that's another reason I know that Richard Allen's guilty. Not to mention the 61 confessions on 61 different occasions he confessed. But y'all want to say that those were false confessions. He was drugged, he was in duress, he was under stress, and he was tortured, and this and that. None of that happened. Richard Allen wasn't tortured. He wasn't under duress. These are all rumors you're hearing online from the cuckoos of YouTube and Reddit and God knows what else you're hearing this stuff from. It's all made up lies. Richard Allen was not under any kind of duress. He was not tortured. This was just stuff that the defense leaked out on the internet to try to fool people. You people out there really need to start thinking for yourselves instead of just believing what people put on a form and just running with it. Look into it yourself. Put it together yourself in your own mind. If it doesn't make sense, then it's probably BS. Another thing I would like to talk about too is the fact that I was thinking, the one thing that was going to convict Richard Allen would be that unspent round, right? But you want to know what I think really convicted him? Because I keep hearing people talk about, it's just so shocking that 12 jurors actually all came up with the same decision and found him guilty. And there's a lot of rumors floating around out there that the jury pool was tainted. Somebody threatened the jurors, or the jurors were paid off, and this and that. All of that's made up lies. None of that happened. And I'm going to explain to you how that's not true. And why. I'm going to explain to you right now why the 12 jurors, found him guilty on all 4 counts. And part of it was the unspent round. That was a big part of it. But there was something else why they all came to the conclusion why that man's guilty. I'm going to explain that right now. So the reason the 12 jurors all came to the conclusion that Richard Allen is Bridge Guy and he was the guy that killed Abby and Libby was there was 2 things that the people on the jury, the 12 jurors, was really wanting to hear. And the 2 things that they really wanted to hear the most was they wanted to hear his voice. Did you notice he didn't really do a lot of talking throughout the trial? He sat there and kind of stayed quiet the whole time, and that's kind of why he didn't want to get on the stand too. He didn't want people hearing his voice. Well, the 12 jurors really wanted to hear Richard Allen's voice. They wanted to see the interview between him and Holman where he went off the deep end and butted heads with Holman. They had it out, and he went off on that man. They wanted to see that interview, and they wanted to hear his voice in that interview, and then they wanted to hear the voice of the infamous recording of Guys Down the Hill, right? Well, when they listened to that recording of Guys Down the Hill, and then they watched and listened to the interview where he went slam off on Holman, in that interrogation interview where he went slam off on him, that is what sealed his fate, and that is what convinced the 12 jurors that that is the man on the bridge. Richard Allen is the man on the bridge. Richard Allen's Bridge Guy, and Richard Allen is the one that killed Abby and Libby. Because when they watched that interview of that interrogation and they heard Richard Allen's voice where he went nuts on that cop, that detective. And then they heard the same voice on the infamous recording of Guys Down the Hill. They knew right then that he was the bridge guy, because the voices totally matched up. That's what sealed his fate. So the people out there that can't grasp the fact of 12 jurors all making the decision that he's guilty on all 4 counts, and you got people out there claiming, oh, the jury pool was tainted, they were paid off, and this and that. Those are just lies that these other YouTubers are putting out, the ones that are making money off of talking about this case. You can't believe that. I'm telling you the truth of why they finally decided to come up with a guilty verdict on all 4 counts. Because when they seen that interview and that interrogation, and they listened to that man's voice, when they heard Richard Allen's voice, and then they went back and listened to the infamous Guys Down the Hill voice, that's what made them find him guilty on all 4 counts. When they heard that, they knew then that he was the guy too. I think that was a big part of it. Because they all, I don't even know if I should be talking about this right now, but that is what sealed Richard Allen's fate, is the 12 jury members heard Richard Allen's voice, and it matched the infamous Guys Down the Hill voice. And with the whole gag order being in place still, I think, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about this right now, but that is the truth. That is what sealed his fate too. So it was the 12 jurors hearing his voice during that interrogation video, and hearing the same voice on the infamous Guys Down the Hill. It was that, and it was the forensics on the bullet being matched up to Richard Allen's gun. Those are the main things that sealed his fate right there. And for the people out there, the other YouTubers out there that keep talking about, there was no DNA evidence and there was no forensic evidence linking Richard Allen to the crime. There does not have to be DNA evidence linking someone to a crime to find them guilty, to prove they committed the crime. All there has to be is reasonable doubt. All the prosecution has to prove is beyond a reasonable doubt. All they needed to prove was he was the man on the bridge to get a conviction, and that's exactly what prosecution has done. So there doesn't have to be DNA evidence, for one. The prosecution has to prove beyond reasonable doubt that he was the man on the bridge. And another thing is, for the people out there saying that there was no forensic evidence, well, there was forensic evidence, because they forensically matched the bullet up and matched it to Richard Allen's gun. So people out there saying that there was no forensic evidence, that's a lie too, because the bullet was forensically matched up and matched to his gun. So there might not have been DNA linking him to the crime, but there was forensics linking him to the crime, and them linking that bullet to his gun is just the same as a fingerprint. It's just as good as a fingerprint. And yeah, so those are the 3 things I don't want to say my opinion, those are the 3 things that sealed Richard Allen's fate and got him found guilty on all 4 counts. And another thing I would like to talk about is too, before I end this video, is the 12 jurors had to watch video of him acting crazy in his cell. At one point he was even naked, rolling around in his own feces, and he was jerking off, singing, "Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys." He was doing that. So they had to watch video of him doing that, rolling around in his cell in his own feces, jerking off while he was singing, "Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys." And they had to watch video of him acting like a nut. But then at the same time, if you watched him throughout the whole trial, he acted like a complete, normal, sane man. He was sitting there next to his attorneys, talking and asking them questions. At one point in time, he was even asking his attorneys to pass him some mints. He was acting completely normal throughout the whole trial. So the jury members also had to watch that. They're like, oh, he's acting crazy, doing all this crazy stuff while he's incarcerated. But every day they came to deliberation and seen him, he was acting like a complete normal, sane person. So, I mean, it's like I said from day one, this trial has always been, it all comes down to common sense. This was a common sense case. It was a common sense trial, is what I need to say. It was a common sense trial. It all comes down to common sense here. And it's like I say all the time, in the day and time that we're living in, common sense is not that common anymore. But I just wanted to do this video to explain to a lot of people out there who really truly believe he's innocent. He is not innocent. He is guilty. And I just wanted to do this video to explain to everybody out there a little bit of why he's guilty and why the 12 jurors found him guilty. But yeah, there's probably other stuff that, you know, I'm missing that I haven't talked about yet. You know, I was surprised that the jury, I was surprised that Richard Allen's defense team tried going with the whole Odinist theory, had nothing to back it up. I mean, in my opinion, I think they would have had a better chance at, you know, doing what a lot of podcasters were doing 2, 3, 4 years ago when they were trying to pin it on a dead guy, Ron Logan. That was really upsetting me when a lot of podcasters were doing that. They were trying to pin the murders on a dead guy, Ron Logan. And what's the best way to do is pin something on somebody that can't defend themselves, right? So, I mean, I think, in my opinion, the defense would have had a better chance of going that route and trying to pin it on Ron Logan, somebody that can't defend themselves and speak back and speak up. But instead of them going that route, they ended up going with the whole route of trying to say it was Odinist and Odinism and this and that, which doesn't really make any sense. Anybody that knows anything about Odinism, people that practice Odinism, that are Odinists, they're not really the kind of people that would just randomly go out and unalive 2 kids. It just doesn't make sense, especially 2 white kids. I mean, Odinism has basically been linked with white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if Odinist or Odinism, people that's in Odinism or whatever, if they was to go out and commit any kind of crime at all against somebody, it would not be 2 little white girls, if you catch my drift. So the whole Odinism thing never made sense to me anyways. I mean, if you really think about it, just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I thought that was crazy when they went with the whole Odinism thing. And there's so much lies out there that a lot of other podcasters are putting out. These podcasters that a lot of y'all are listening to that are putting out all these crazy conspiracy theories, they don't want this case to end. They want to keep talking about it because they know it draws in the views and it draws in the money. They keep making money. You know, they have merch stores. They sell coffee mugs, t-shirts, hats, bumper stickers, hoodies, sweaters, shorts, pants, you know, stuff like that. They want to continue making money. So they're going to keep feeding you what you want to hear. And there's a lot of people out there who loves hearing the whole conspiracy theory stuff. They love going down the rabbit hole. So these people are going to continue feeding you exactly what you want to hear. So they keep you coming, they keep you interested, they keep you coming back for more, and they keep getting the views, they keep getting the donations, they keep making the money. It's never been about Abby and Libby to them. It's never been about the families to them. It's all, to these people, it's always been about making money. And, you know, I just wish that most of you people out there are just smart enough to see that, but a lot of you don't see it. You're you're caught up in the whole, oh yeah, you're caught up in the whole conspiracy theory thing. Like, yeah, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get Richard Allen out of jail. He's been framed. He's an innocent man. There's a lot of dirty stuff going on down there in Delphi, Indiana, and the judge has blood stains on her hands, and the whole system's corrupt, and the real killers are still out there walking the streets. Like, I mean, it sounds like a Lifetime movie. I mean, you know how crazy this is starting to sound? You know, I mean, come on now. I'm not saying that there isn't corruption going on in certain towns and stuff, which there's corruption everywhere. And, but you got to give some credit to law enforcement. Everybody that knows me knows I don't really like law enforcement. I don't like cops. I don't like law enforcement. But coming from somebody like me, you got to give them some credit. You know what I'm saying? There are some good ones out there, and you got to give them some kind of credit. They're not just going to go out here and arrest some random guy for 2 counts of murder and not have anything to back it up with. I mean, come on, that just does not happen. I mean, they're not going to do that. The reason they went out and arrested Richard Allen and charged him with what they charged him with is because they knew that they had enough to convict. The only time they're going to do that, the only time the state is going to go out and charge somebody with murder or something, a major crime, right, is when they know they have enough evidence to convict when they go to trial. So when they hit Richard Allen with those charges for unaliving Abby and Libby and abducting them and all that, then that should have told you right there when they hit him with those charges. That should have told you right there, if you know anything about the judicial system, law enforcement, stuff like that, that should have told you right there that when they hit him with those charges, they have stuff. They have evidence. They got stuff. You know what I'm saying? They have enough. They feel they have enough to where if they take it to court, they can get a conviction. Because if they didn't, they never would have charged him. But yeah, if there's anything that you feel that I've left out and you want to talk about, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I just wanted to talk about these few things and get a little bit of this off my chest. And yeah, just do the right thing, just open up your mind, see it for what it is. He's Bridge Guy. There's no other killer out walking the streets. He's not an innocent man. He was not framed. Don't let these other podcasters brainwash you just to keep you coming back so they can keep making money. I mean, you got to give the police some kind of credit. They're not all bad, and they're not just going to go out here and randomly charge somebody with a major crime like that if they don't have something to back it up. They're just not going to do that. I mean, you got to be logical here. And it's like I said before, time and time again, this trial is a trial of common sense. And I do understand that there's a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of people around the world that just does not have common sense. I know there's a lot of people in the world, they'll have book smarts, but they won't have common sense. And it's a shame. But I hope everybody's having a good day. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button, tap that bell, click all to get all notifications and all updates on all new upcoming videos. I'm going to be taking a break this month from doing crime stories and crime videos, but I'll still be doing content. But I'm going to be doing more crime stories and crime videos the following month. So it'll be like the month of December. I'll go back to doing my crime stories again. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a great day. Y'all stay safe, y'all stay blessed, and y'all stay righteous out there. Until next time, peace. gotta hit the button to end the live, right? I mean, to end the video, right? All right, peace.